On Billboard tonight, folk festivals in Cleethorpes, Shakespeare on the Beeb and Catherine Deneuve in Film Review. Welcome to our second lockdown edition of Billboard, with me, Ted Stanley, for our monthly roundup of cultural activity in Lincolnshire and East Yorkshire, now reaching over 400,000 people. With businesses reopening and staff returning to work, we were saddened by the news that many West End theatres could be closed until spring next year. Our thoughts are with the staff and performers whose livelihoods are now at risk. The lockdown has also been a challenging time for filmmakers, but using previously captured footage and research by Billboard's Kirsty Hanna, Grimsby-based Hammond House Productions have recently released a heritage documentary that explores the history of the legendary Cleethorpes Folk Festival, which began in the 1960s.
Well, the Folk Festival in Cleethorpes started in 1964 by the members of the Grimsby Folk Song Club, which was mainly the Broadside Band. It was always put on the May Spring Bank Holiday weekend, so it was the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It started its life on the pier. It moved to the Winter Gardens and other venues in the town because the Winter Gardens had 3-4 rooms that could be used.
Elton John had played there, Black Sabbath had played there, and Joe Cocker, endless names, had played this venue. It was so iconic.
You can see the full Folk Festival documentary on our sister channel, Clee TV. Now, here with more movie news, Liz Drury has been looking at some of the films you can enjoy through the online screening platforms.
Welcome to another lockdown edition of Film Review. Visually stunning and emotionally profound, Portuguese filmmaker Pedro Costa's Vitalina Varela is a quietly absorbing drama whose placid surface belies hidden depths. 55-year-old Varela arrives in Lisbon 3 days after her husband's funeral. She's been waiting 25 years for a plane ticket and the chance to discover the hidden life of her late husband. Legends of French cinema, Catherine Deneuve and Juliette Binoche, join master filmmaker Hirokatsu Kurita to paint a moving portrait of family dynamics in The Truth. Deneuve plays an ageing French movie star about to publish her memoirs when her daughter, played by Binoche, returns to Paris from New York with her husband and their young daughter to commemorate its release. A sharp and funny battle of wits ensues between mother and daughter that is charming, bold, and imbued with endless emotional insight.
Viens voir quelque chose là, dans le jardin. Tu vois la tortue là? Mais avant c'était un homme. Et comme il m'embêtait, je l'ai transformé en tortue.
You wanted to make her jealous. Show her a happy family, but that's not gonna make her jealous.
Tu devrais prendre un peu plus de soin des gens qui t'entourent.
Mais toi, toi et moi, on se débrouille très bien.
Tu as utilisé tes pouvoirs magiques.
Pourquoi?
Je suis sur le point de te pardonner.
Lucas Feigelfeld's arty folk horror Hagazusa has a spellbinding audio-visual symphony thanks to slow hypnotic takes and the sounds of Greek avant-rock trio MMD. In a remote alpine village in the 15th century, a young orphan, Albrun, grows up to become a marked woman, the scapegoat of ancient superstitions. When she begins to assert her otherworldly birthright, her motives become malevolent and brutal as she descends into a psychedelic nightmare.
qui me répond.
In our family film tonight, Onward from Pixar Films, teenage elf brothers Ian and Barley Lightfoot get an unexpected opportunity to spend one more day with their late dad via a journey filled with magic spells, cryptic maps and impossible obstacles. When the boys' fearless mother, Laurel, realises her sons are missing, she teams up with former warrior, the Manticore, and heads off to find them.
You got a problem, Shades?
If it's adventure you seek, you've come to the right tavern.
Oh, no.
Thanks Liz, some great choices to watch at home. In literary news, the Lincolnshire Writers Groups are not currently meeting but are still active online. You can join free at lincolnshirewriters.com to gain access to advice and feedback from writing gurus and watch video workshops on the secrets of storytelling. Entries for the Hammond House Staying Home competition are now closed and the winners will be announced in our July programme. Entries are still open for the International Literary Prize until the 30th of September. Awarded by the University Centre Grimsby, this popular writing competition features categories for short stories, poetry and screenplays. You can enter now at hammondhousepublishing.com. The competition theme is celebrated in Rachel Makena's new song Survival. The music video was produced in collaboration with filmmaker Alex Thompson. More music from Rachel at rachelmakenamusic.com. After the break, Hugh Richards' book review, a poetry competition in Yorkshire and some reasons to be cheerful.
In this crazy world we will carry on. You're my go-to guy, you're my number one. How can I be sure we will be as one, or will you continue?
There are something like 4,000 businesses in North East Lincolnshire in a relatively compact county area. We want to talk to more of these businesses as time goes on because we're able to bring in funding which in turn increases their trading ability and expansion.
It's all the good stuff, all positive and helping businesses to grow, create jobs.
Established in 2016 by North East Lincolnshire Council, the Investment Hub is an important part of the Council's strategy to support the growth of local business.
We sit with the business, we find out what they're looking at doing, and from our database and our knowledge of finance, we put them together with appropriate funders.
The team of experienced banking professionals, including Anthony Wynne, Sarah Bratton and Ian Girdley, provide a free service to identify sources of funding that can help companies grow and prosper. If you think you can benefit from this valuable service for business in North East Lincolnshire, contact Becky Darnell on 07921 562 500 or email info@investmenthubnel.org.uk.
Coming up on tonight's show, Ian Drury and the Blockheads, an online theatre festival and scriptwriting workshops from John Hewer. But first, a report from our East Yorkshire correspondent Tony Barker, including a fascinating new history app.
It's competition time in the East Riding. Poetry first, I mentioned it last month. There are 14 prizes up for grabs in a poetry competition from East Riding Libraries.
We've been running the poetry competition for a few years now, and each year it just gets better and better. This year we actually have 14 prizes available to be won, and all we're asking you to do is write a poem with a maximum of 45 lines along the theme of my companion, my best friend. Now, poetry is a brilliant art form, and it's a particularly good art form for the current situation that we're finding ourselves in. It's really easy to do. Anyone can write a poem. It's all about how the poet is feeling and what the poet is wanting to say. For more information about the poetry competition, you can go to www.festivalofwords.co.uk, and there's also the entry forms on there. So if you do feel like you have a poem bursting to get out of you and it's good enough to enter into the competition, do feel free to enter.
Adult entries are £4 and it's free for children. The closing date is the 28th of November. If poetry isn't your bag, then East Riding Voluntary Action Services want to find out more talents, maybe short stories, video or artwork for their competition History in the Making. A new archive feature online can show us how our part of the East Riding looked back in the 1850s. It's the latest from the team which brought us historical features in the app What Was Here.
Hey, my name's Sam Bartle. I created something called the What Was Here mobile app in my role with East Riding Archives, and the team at Billboard TV have asked me to do a quick demo of the new historic maps timeline that we've just launched. So let's get into it. So you load up the app, click on the view map and then the historic maps tab. Now I recommend using satellite view. I think it gives a better past and present comparison. And then you click on the years timeline there on the bottom left. I'm just going to show you 1855 because that's a set of Ordnance Survey maps all stitched together, and it gives you a full region-wide coverage. And we'll choose Bridlington. We'll zoom in on there. And this is the bit I really like here, the opacity slider just on the bottom left here. You can use that to go from past to present and make the comparison between then and now. Zooming in a little bit further now. Right in on Bridlington and the harbour area. And again, using the opacity slider, you can see 1855 becomes Bridlington nowadays, and back again. Now the app also covers some region-wide historic maps. There's 1832 there, not in quite as much detail as the Ordnance Survey. 1793, 1763, 1686, and finally 1610. And we've also got these smaller maps called enclosure maps, which were rural surveys that were done in the 18th and 19th century. And this one in particular here really shows the effects of coastal erosion over the years. This is the early 1700s. And again, using the opacity slider, you can get a good feel for it there.
Finally, from the 4th of July, here's a list. There'll be digital art exhibitions, workshops, panel discussions, mini markets, cabaret nights and family-friendly activities. Look no further online than SheFest from Beverley.
Thank you, Tony. Some great stories from the talented people in East Yorkshire. Now here with some literary talent for you to enjoy, journalist and broadcaster Hugh Richards with his choice of the latest book releases.
Thanks, Ted. We start where all great storytelling starts, with the oldest written story of Western literature. Stephen Fry now gives us his take on Troy, the epic tale from which the Greeks, and thus from which we, find our most familiar identities. Helen's face launches 1,000 ships, Achilles sulks, Priam prays during the great siege, and it all ends with Agamemnon dead. This is not heavy classicism, but, as ever with Fry, readable, funny, clear, and a worthy successor to his previous brilliant tellings of Greek myth in his books Mythos and heroes. Following their television series, Bob Mortimer and Paul Whitehouse have published Gone Fishing, their account of shared fishing trips in which the fish were never in much danger. Their old friends, reunited after both were scared by heart problems, determined to enjoy life and each other. Both men are funny, great company, and sometimes thoughtful, asking how they got so old and, more importantly, what happened to all the fish. The Cat and the City is Nick Bradley's first novel, and I'm looking forward to many more. The Cat strolls around Tokyo, one of the world's biggest megacities, finding a variety of strange characters with, it seems, only one feline factor in common. The Cat is an observant flâneur, noticing the strange details of an urban society changing fast. The Japanese setting is exotic, but this story reveals strains of character to be found in any town or city. And finally, some rather raunchy history. Mistresses, sex and scandal at the court of Charles II does not disappoint. Linda Porter's research confirms the merry monarch as enthusiastic and athletic, but his women are much more interesting. They used their allure to win power and wealth. In the 17th century, royal favour was the only way women could influence policy, and Charles would listen to women as often as to his male courtiers. The cost to these powerful women was endless slander and invective. Nothing changes.
Although theatres are dark and actors resting, creative companies have been finding innovative ways to entertain their audience. John Hewer is running virtual scriptwriting workshops hosted by the Riverhead Theatre in Louth, and the Caxton Theatre in Grimsby are hosting a weekly Facebook quiz every Wednesday at 7:30. Now, with a recipe of entertainment you can enjoy at home, here's box office correspondent Gemma Lindberg.
So, Ted, I was just having a slice of cake there. That's my 28th cake that I've baked since lockdown began. I'll finish you off later. On BBC 4, the Lockdown Theatre Festival takes fully realised stage production that had their runs suddenly cut short by COVID-19 and brings them to the airwaves. With actors recording from isolation, the festival features Rockets and Blue Lights, Love 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 and Shoe Lady. Also on BBC 4, the Shakespeare Sessions are a one-stop shop for all things Shakespeare. Documentaries from the brightest minds on the bard's life and work, plus brand new audio versions of Shakespeare's greatest plays with an A-list cast. And The Unknown Island is a beautiful, inventive and rebellious adventure story about dreaming of the impossible and trying to cross the vast distances between ourselves and each other. Based on Jose Saramango's short story, this intriguing voyage of self-discovery from the Gateway Theatre Company's archives runs online until the 30th of June at gatewaytheatre.co.uk.
What is this unknown island you want to go in search of?
If I could tell you that, it wouldn't be unknown.
And nearer to home, the Riverhead Theatre Company have adapted one of their most popular productions, Murder on the Oriental Princess, to a radio play in 3 episodes. Detective Steve Harding is a passenger on the Oriental Princess, a luxury cruise liner, when there's been a murder committed. You can listen to episode 1 now with a link from the Riverhead Theatre Facebook page. And the Horncastle Theatre Company present Molière Segangarelle, specially adapted for radio by Susan Moffat. Chaos and confusion reign in this ancestor of the modern farce. Available now with a link from the Line Theatre Facebook page. And you can join the Caxton Theatre for their weekly quiz every Wednesday night at 7:30, also on their Facebook page. And new TV series released on Netflix this month include Season 1 of Hannibal. We meet Hannibal Lecter as a world-renowned psychiatrist before we discovered his crimes. A young FBI criminal profiler is haunted by Hannibal's ability to empathise with serial killers. And finally, Reasons to be Cheerful from the Grey Eye Theatre Company is a raucous celebration of the life and music of Ian Drury and the Blockheads. You can enjoy Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll, Sweet Jean Vincent and Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick at greyeye.org until the 3rd of August. I shall see you soon, and I'm going to finish off my cake. It's good.
Fast-moving production footage from Reasons to be Cheerful, a raucous musical featuring the hits of Ian Dury and the Blockheads. 4 stars. Rough, ready and bloody brilliant. Time out.
Well, that's almost all for tonight's show. You can keep up to date with the latest entertainment news on our Facebook page, and to make sure you don't miss any of our programmes, click the subscribe button below. If you have a story or feature you would like us to put on Billboard, email details to news@billboardtv.uk. Very best wishes from everyone on the Billboard team. Please take care and stay safe. We hope to keep broadcasting during these difficult times to bring you more entertaining news, entertaining guests and great music.
And in this crazy world, we will carry on. You're my go-to guy, you're my number one. How can I be sure we will be as one? Or will you come to me with the rising sun? It's survival, crazy world, this crazy world. In this crazy world, this crazy world, this crazy world. Oh, in this crazy world, we will carry on. You're my go-to guy, you're my number one. Though you're far away from my rising sun, there will come a day when we can be as one. It's survival. Crazy world.